plant talk.
It's really complicated.
I'm gonna buy this one. Tater is so old, but she's excited. Tater wanna go for a walk? Tater wanna go for a walk? Work prep. Batteries last for a really long time, but I'm gonna keep this charging and we will go on a walk. Thriving. Well, there's some dead part. And I can't remember if this is the one that I cut the other day and then I ate and put in my ramen, or this is the part. It's probably this the one. This the one. I mean to say that it's really growing. And it's pretty cool because now we never have to buy green onions again. The aloe vera's doing all right. Still haven't really been thinking about what pot I should use it for. But I guess that's enough plant talk. Probably have booger in my nose. Sugars is defeated because I put coconut oil on his paws and he wants to lick it really bad, but he got scolded. I also put coconut oil on Titter's paws, but hers are just so dainty and luscious even though she's almost 11. Got eye bags, Titters. Titters! So I decided that this week I'm gonna try to reflect after every job and just talk about what every job entailed, just so I could look back at this video and track what the heck I was doing, what kind of jobs that I was taking. Not that I really have a choice, I'm just taking any job really. But anyway, today's Monday and it's the first day of this week's handywoman diaries, and today's job, the first job was at 11 o'clock. It was to assemble a cat tree, which took maybe an hour. I had to kind of deassemble what the client had tried to put together, and I had a little bit of a difficult time taking out one of the cam locks. It was kind of stuck in there for some reason. Also for the same client, I put in a shower filter, and it was like an attachable shower filter like device, so it was really easy to put together. I put Teflon on both connections, so that was probably maybe like 5 minutes, a minute to make sure that the water ran through the filter, and then turn off the water, grabbed a little piece of dried tissue paper and dabbed it at the connection, made sure there are no leaks. So that was done. And the third part of that job was to put back a bathroom ceiling light glass mount, and she said it was difficult for her to do because it needed 2 hands, and I tried to do it with my cloth glove on one hand and rubber gloves on one hand, and the little screws were so small it was really hard to put in there. So I had asked the client, could I take off my gloves? I put on sanitizer, and then she said it was fine. So I maneuvered it with my bare hands, and it was easier to hold onto the screw, so was able to do that. I think that took another 25 minutes. Like, it was that difficult. It had a silver ring on top next to the mount, like an actual little ceiling mount for the light, that had 3 holes on every side of the ring, and that would kind of loosely fit into the screws that were coming out of these little brackets on the ceiling light. Oh my god, this is gonna be so hard to describe, especially since I don't have a photo of it. But anyway, and then you put the glass part, the glass cover, and then there's another silver ring that holds the glass part together. You fit everything through the bracket, and then you put a tiny screw into the silver bracket. I mean, it is a lot easier than it sounds. I mean, no, it's a lot harder than it sounds to put that thing together. It's very tedious. That's why it took me a while. But I'm happy that I was able to do it, and the client is happy. I gave her my business card, so hopefully she'll hire me directly next time. I'm blanking out. Okay, second job of Monday all done. It started at 3:30, now it's 5. I put up a curtain rod. It was like one of those screw into the bracket kind of curtain rods, which I haven't really seen before. It was pretty nice. And then, which was a simple job. It kind of affected time a little bit because I kind of had to maneuver around her small apartment to get my ladder back there. But other than that, everything worked out fine. And I also had to assemble a exercise bike from, it was really complicated. It says it starts with removal of frame, but it doesn't say if it's like required, if it's that's for transport, whatever. And then it's like assembly next. So I'm like, do I have to do the removal of frame first? And then I realized I do. So that took an hour and a half. Client was happy, gave him prepared their breakfast. Someone is trying to act all cool like he doesn't eat breakfast. Sugars. Hello. I'm in a weird mood right now because I just totally did something to my side view mirror. But I just finished a job with a client, and very, very simple job. I had to put a ottoman together and a corner bench. That's what she called it, like a bench, but it's actually just a corner chair. And all I had to do was open the box, take the items out, and screw the legs on each one. Both of them was just screwing the legs on.
Feeling kinda lonely.
This is how the job went. My second job. It was at 1 o'clock. It was a metal storage assembly from Husky, and you would think it would be really easy, but I think the client knew that it wasn't going to fit into this closet area in the garage because he had a hacksaw ready and it was too high, and they had nowhere else to put this storage thing, this giant storage thing, except for the closet inside the garage. So I measured and everything. By the way, my measuring tape broke. This is what happened. So this is done, but it was only the $5 kind from Pittsburgh, which is a brand of Harbor Freight. And yeah, it's heavy, it's plastic. I want to get one from Stanley that's really cheap. I mean, not really cheap, it's really light, because even the contractor had it, and then a bunch of the guys that I met at the trade school had Stanley too. So anyway, I measured 12 inches. It was 90 inches tall at the end frame. So for each end frame post, I had to cut, so 4 parts, 12 inches off with a hacksaw. So it was a 2.5-hour job. And I am very exhausted because I was working in the hot sun. Because I'm doing Sober October and I don't need 2 days off in a row, I'm gonna take tomorrow, Wednesday off, and then I think I'm gonna get a plumbing job on Thursday. Isn't it crazy that it's already October and I have to do my P&Ls for September already? I mean, it's really not that bad. Like, it doesn't take me that long. But these are all my receipts for September. I mean, I don't really know if how I'm doing it is correct, but it's very organized in my opinion, and I have record of everything. I have physical copies, and then I also take a photocopy of all of my receipts, and then in the title description of the pictures, I write the date of the receipt, how much I spent, and obviously where I had spent it. And I put it in a folder on my computer called receipts and expenses, receipts/expenses, and each folder is organized by the month, so on and so forth. And then as far as data entry of those things. I have a Google Drive. I'm gonna buy this one for $9.97.
Let me hold the top.
A brush for my client and the caulk. Okay, so just got back from removing old caulking and applying new caulking in a bathtub job. I had to do it like in the back corner, 2 corners, and then the perimeter of the bathtub on the interior. And I was gonna do the outside bottom of the bathtub, but she had told me in the chat before I got to the job that she had a 2-hour time constraint. So it was like 9:40 when I was gonna start on the outside. It had already been an hour and 40 minutes. But someone had taken a shower in there before I got there, so there was a lot of cleanup, making sure there was no moisture to apply the caulking, and one of the 2 tiles by the wall on the shower head, like it kept oozing droplets of water from underneath, and I'm like, oh my god, I have to keep reapplying the caulking, and it just like would not dry. So I was getting kind of worried, so I started moving on to the other side, and that's when I think there's mold on the side, the wall of the shower head side, and when I was trying to remove the old caulking from that little edge on the outside, like the drywall was falling apart, and I just felt like there was mold there. I don't know, I felt like there was mold. But anyway, I told her about that, and she said she was gonna tell her landlord. And on the other side, which is missing a bunch of drywall, not a bunch, but like a good chunk, I said maybe we can like stuff some spackling on there or some mud, and then apply caulking after we remove the old thick ass caulking. But yeah, I gave her my card. Hopefully she will hire me directly next time, and I'm gonna head back home. Okay, now that I have a cute dog in the background, I just came back from my second plumbing job of the day, and it was to unclog a kitchen sink. So I did a quick research on my old plumbing book, like how to take apart the P-trap, any tips and things I should be aware of, whatever. But I got there, and it was one of the disposal with the Allen wrench you put underneath, you twist it around, you reset it, turn it back on kind of job. So it was really, really fast. It took me like less than 10 minutes. And then after that, I told her that I have to charge a minimum of 1 hour per invoice. Is there anything else that you would like me to fix? She asked me what else did I do. I said home repairs, assembling, just fixing things. And she asked me to fix the cabinet hinges that were coming off. So I fixed that. And then she had one of those slide out trash bin things. It's like a drawer with like 2 holes where you put the plastic trash bins in. So I fastened the plastic component, like plastic contraption that was falling off, with longer screws, hooked the drawer back into the arms, and so that was fixed. And then her striker plate on the front door was actually halfway loose. It was missing one of the screws, so I just screwed it on with one of the construction screws that I have. And yeah, everything was fixed. It was done in 30 minutes. Very, very rare that I do, but I did, because my mom's memorial today, and it felt really good too. Anyway, I just finished an electrical job. It took surprisingly 2 hours. Holy crap. And it was just to replace a sconce, an existing sconce, but the mounting hardware that I came with only accounted for the screws to poke out, like the threads to poke out, and then you have these 2 like capping threaded decorative hardware, and that secures the appliance to the mount. How you're supposed to secure the mount to the housing on the wall, there were no screws included in that. So she had an existing one that was still on the wall, so I used those, but it was like rusting, the Phillips head was stripping. All in all, I had to do a bunch of things. And then I also had to run out after 1 hour to go feed the meter because there's no street parking around here. I mean, there's paid street parking, but as far as free street parking, it was completely crowded. So all in all, the job took 2 hours. I was able to, like, hard wiring and everything, that was fine. Like, I tested out the light bulb, everything worked out fine. It was just the mounting and making sure that it was secured to the wall that took me forever. I had to do all kinds of different things. I had to flip the mount around. But anyway, I figured it out. It took 2 hours, and I am so embarrassed to say that it took that long because usually my electrical jobs are like 15 minutes. About to harvest again for my garden. What happened to this one? I'm gonna eat that one. I'm gonna eat some soba. I'm gonna add some green onion. I should probably not eat so many of them, right? I want another one. This isn't enough. Which one should I get? This big one?